This is my match footage for the West End Gun Club LESA Multigun match that was held November 19th, 2022. Please be aware we were dealing with high wind, and I have tried to correct this as much as I can in the audio, but the audio may be loud at times. Stage 1 starts simple enough. The shooter moves to a shooting box and engages an array of steel targets in front of them. Here I double check that I'm actually in the shooting box before I begin. The shooter must engage the painted targets before engaging the non-painted targets. I have a bit of an issue with ejection. I've been using the 115 grain load that's a bit weak for a comp, and occasionally brass will stovepipe between the hood of my red dot and the chamber. As you can see, the shooter moves from the box that they started in to a box on the opposite side of the stage and repeats the process, painted targets followed by non-painted. Position 3 is where things get interesting. The shooter moves to the center of the stage and engages the same order of targets, but between each shot the shooter must engage a red plate on the very right-hand side of the stage. I had not been counting my rounds, so this last malfunction was also the last round of my mag. Thanks to the malfunction, I failed to focus and took way too many shots at a relatively easy target. And the malfunctions continue. By this point, I'm 3 malfunctions deep and very much flustered as I try to go a little bit faster than I really should, causing my misses. Thanks to my subpar shooting and malfunctions, I landed 8th out of 23 shooters, with 78.24% of the winner's score. Stage 2 is somehow even more straightforward than Stage 1, 3 shooting boxes and a few steel arrays. The shooter engages the rear steel knockdown targets before moving from box to box doing the same. Some of the steel knockdown targets required more hits than usual, causing me to double tap quite a few of them. Click but no bang, another sign of a malfunction. Along with that, the knockdown target on the right did not want to fall over, even for some of the shooters that were shooting buckshot. Dumping that many rounds, I thought an empty chamber was a malfunction. Once all the rear steel has been taken care of, the shooter engages all the forward steel. The shooter had to eliminate at least one array from each box. Catching a malfunction on the move, I opted to take care of the issue as I got to my shooting position as to not accidentally break the 180.
4596.
Thanks to some of the issues with knockdown targets, I got 13th out of 23 shooters with 71.27% of the winner's score. Stage 3, surprisingly, is another instance of a shooter shooting at targets from 3 boxes. Shocker! The shooter starts at the rightmost box, engages the leftmost steel array with a pistol. The shooter then moves to the center box and engages the left and right steel arrays before moving to the final box and engaging the rightmost steel array. I should have conducted a reload when I was transitioning from left to right. The pistol portion of the stage was 20 rounds. With the amount of misses, I should have known that I would run out of ammo before the end of the string. And we have another malfunction close to the end of the pistol portion of the stage. Once I finish up here, the shooter dumps their handgun into the pistol bucket before retrieving their rifle. As you can see from the footage, I had my rifle on 8x instead of 1x, causing me some time on the stage. Once that was corrected, the rest of the stage was pretty simple. 5 steel targets lined the back of the bay. The shooter needed 1 hit each. In the first box, the shooter shoots from standing, in the second from kneeling, and in the last box, the shooter must shoot from either sitting or double kneeling. Overall, I could have gone faster with my shots, but this was a fairly awkward position for me to shoot in. I should have utilized my offset dot for way more of this stage. Even with how slow I was being, I landed 4th out of 23 shooters, with 75.18% of the winner's score. Stage 4, as compared to many other stages at this match, has a total of 4 shooting positions as opposed to 3. The shooter starts by engaging 3 steel targets in the rear, with 2 hits each, before moving to another shooting position, shooting the same 3 targets once again, before moving to the center box and finishing up those 3 targets with an additional 2 hits each. Once the shooter is finished, they dump their rifle and transition to pistol. In the 4th position, the shooter must engage the left steel array with 1 hit each. The shooter must engage at least 1 target from the viewing window. As I'd already taken a knee, I opted to shoot the rest of the stage in that manner. A light primer strike caused me to get confused and re-engage an already shot target. I opt to reload here before moving on to the second string of steel. This time there are less targets, but need double the amount of hits. Again, one target must be hit from the window. picking up a bit of speed, I ended up whiffing more of my shots. Even with my somewhat lackluster shooting, I landed 5th out of 23 shooters with 69.86% of the winner's score. Finally, stage 5, I start off with a blunder, my sling getting caught on my pistol holster. As per usual for LESA, it's a long-range stage. Unusually for LESA, this is a fairly strict par time for this stage, 120 seconds. Due to the high wind, a number of shooters ended up parring out on this stage. The shooting portion is fairly simple, 6 targets, 2 at 100, 2 at 50, 2 at 200, must be engaged with 1 hit each. The joys of a light trigger rear its ugly head. With how low my finger was, a light pull caused me to bump my trigger. Once all the shooting in position 1 is done, the shooter moves to the next shooting position and engages the steel array starting at 100, then 50, then 200, with 2 hits on each target. The shooter must alternate between targets after each hit. If there are any regular viewers, you may have noticed that I did not reload on the move from position 1 to 2. This cost me quite a bit of time in the middle of a time-sensitive stage. To add a bit more time, my rifle short-stroked. You can see just how windy it is with the amount of airtime my gondola charm is getting. Finally, the shooter moves back to the first shooting position and scores 1 hit each on every target once again. I start by engaging the 200-yard steal as there's a 20-second penalty, as opposed to the 10-second penalty for failing to eliminate the 50 and the 100-yard steal targets. With the amount of people that hit the par time and my adequate shooting, I landed 5th out of 23 shooters with 79.97% of the winner's score. I barely beat out the par time by 8-ish seconds. Overall, I landed 5th out of 23 shooters with 80.57% of the winner's score and 1st out of 5 in my division. If you like this sort of match footage, please subscribe. I try to upload new match footage every first Wednesday of the month.